Money Vikings, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. And if you do get value out of our videos, please remember to like and subscribe. Really do appreciate it as we grow the channel. So I have a really special one for you today. I want to talk about 5 Stoic rules for a better life. So I've been studying the Stoics for quite a while, and the Stoics, I've just sort of gotten right back into it recently. And I've just found that the Stoic philosophies are a great way to sort of frame our mind for dealing with life overall, actually, in general. And I'm going to go through that today with one of our blog posts, and I think that you may find it very interesting. Hey, also consider subscribing to our newsletter. So go to truewealth.moneyvikings.com, and on there you can subscribe to our newsletter, and you can get weekly ideas again with investing, health, collectibles, and this kind of stuff where it's the psychological aspects of life and of investing. And you'll see as I go through this, you'll see why I connect the Stoic ideas to investing, because a lot of it has to do with realizing the reality of life, focusing on what we can actually control, what we can influence, and then letting the rest of it kind of fall into place and accepting it, and then having some tools when we do get stuck. So I think that's why you'll find this really interesting. So first of all, who were the Stoics? It wasn't this guy. I'm kind of making fun of myself there. It was mainly this guy, Marcus Aurelius, who wrote down, he was the emperor of Rome, and he was a very enlightened guy, apparently, obviously, because he wrote down all these ideas about how to deal with the realities of being a human. To my, understanding, and I'm not an academic here, I'm an amateur in all this, it's about really creating sort of a toolbox or a set of skills or tools for actually the human condition is, I think, what you'll find interesting about it. So, I start off with a quote here. He says, "Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own." That really resonates with me. I really believe in that. We're all born into certain circumstances. Our life takes certain courses with certain opportunities, either realized opportunities or missed opportunities, but we really have to deal with the fact that we have the power of now, we have today to be better people, to spread more love, to spread more information, knowledge, and maybe just to be, in a growth mindset and all the types of things. So I really think that's a lot of the power that you'll find from the Stoic philosophy. So I write here that this may be one of the most critical topics that we talk about. And part of that is because of the time that we live in. We live in what we typically call the raging 20s. And what we always talk about with that is it's a time of great change. There's great technological change going on. There's great political change going on. There's a lot of things going on in the world that are kind of hard to, really wrap our brains around as individuals, on the macro level. But as individuals, we need some set of tools and some set of skills and a framework to approach these challenges on a day-to-day basis. And that's kind of really what I've found in the Stoic way. And you'll see our Money Vikings take about how to apply this to investing. So here's one thing that here's another quote that I thought was pretty cool. So he says, Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." I think that's a really beautiful idea. It's just having pure gratitude for getting up in the morning and having the opportunity to just enjoy life a little bit, do some work, hopefully that adds value to your life and others. Be a good parent, be a good partner, be a good friend, in whatever small way you can. I mean, that's the thing here. Small actions, our daily actions, can make a difference. So I think that's a really beautiful idea there. And we talk a lot about that when we talk about the concept of true wealth. It's really about gratitude in a lot of ways. You watching this, I mean, just the fact that you have access to a computer, you probably don't worry about clean drinking water. You probably don't worry about having a place to sleep at night that's safe. You probably don't worry about where your next meal is going to come. You probably have maybe you have a couple close friends or family members. If you have those things and you've checked those boxes, quote unquote, then you're doing pretty darn well in the world. Now, if you can enhance that by building some wealth and investing. And in my mind, having things like hobbies and collectibles and art and all this kind of stuff, then wow, that's a really powerful combination of things, in my opinion. So you can check out the article in more detail. Of course, I do these videos as a way to, communicate what I'm saying in the articles, just to give a different format. So if people don't want to read the article, they can just watch the video and they'll get the same information or very similar. But I do go into who the Stoics were. And, you've got they were more than some old dudes in ancient Rome, but Marcus Aurelius is perhaps the most famous Stoic. He was an enlightened emperor that, fortunately for us, kept a journal about human existence and his philosophies of Stoicism, which I find very interesting. So Stoicism was and is a practical philosophy that deals with ethics, politics, and social matters. But what I also found is that, the Stoics were more than just this emperor. I mean, they could have been slaves, former slaves. They could have been merchants, people working, the poor, the wealthy. It's just sort of, again, a framework for the human existence, no matter our station in life, right? And I think in a lot of ways, that framework can actually propel us to greater levels of satisfaction, no matter what we are facing. So, if you want to, you can, obviously the internet has everything in the world. So you can do a total deep dive on Marcus Aurelius. And I really liked this image here that showed him rendered in real life. So here's our practical guide. These are some of the things that I've taken from it that I think are very important and very germane to our lives today. So number one, you're not stuck, right? A lot of times we might feel stuck in a job, in a certain situation, or we might feel emotionally stuck, like we've been, harmed by someone. And, he talks a lot about this stuff. So one of the quotes is, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't. So there's like two levels of being harmed. There's the actual harm, and then there's what we do with it. And again, this is easier said than done, and I don't want to simplify people's issues. So you definitely seek professional help if there's something that has harmed you. But this is just a way to frame things. I would say this is for more like minor harms, like sort of gossipy type things that we get stuck in our heads. But the concept again is you're not stuck. And I love this quote. He says, at dawn when you have trouble getting out of bed. So this is an emperor of Rome. He's the most powerful person in the world. He says he was having trouble getting out of bed in the morning. He's like, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? And he kind of talks about this thing, was I born to huddle here under the blankets and stay warm? And clearly, I think for most people, they'd say the answer is no. On some days, maybe the answer is yes. But on a lot of days, the answer is no. People want to get up and do things and be part of something. So it says, so you were born to feel nice, ? No. Instead of doing things and experiencing them, don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? So anyway, I just think it's a really powerful idea. But again, the concept, you can get up, you can move forward, you can do that one next step. So in terms of personal finance, I think this is a very powerful message. Millions of people feel stuck in jobs or with their financial situation. And that's a lot of what we try to talk about here at Money Vikings, is that you can make a difference. You have to face your debt head on, face the fact that you maybe haven't invested anything and that you just don't have a very good relationship with money. And maybe you can elevate and improve by first telling yourself and understanding you're not stuck. So the second thing, take things step by step. So he talks a lot about concentrate on what's in front of you. People get so overwhelmed by a big project or a big thing. And again, because we're Money Vikings, we use investing and personal finance. People get overwhelmed by a concept of, maybe retirement or building a nest egg. Yeah, because it's an overwhelming thing to think of in one moment. But over a series of years and a series of steps, it's something that can be done. So concentrate on what's in front of you. The classic one I like to always talk about is, have you signed up and automated your investing? There's one step right in front of you that you could take. You could be good today, instead you choose tomorrow. A lot of people say, well, tomorrow I'll start working out, or I'll start the diet, or whatever it might be. Well, the moment is now. the next meal you have is probably soon. So that's when you can choose to add some vegetables and take away some of the bad stuff. You've got a body. As long as you're not sick or incapacitated, you can go on a, we can go on a walk. We can go walk around, get some exercise. We can go garden. We can go lift something heavy, but again, there's that mental thing that we have to get over. It's the taking things one step at a time. Stoics are big on focusing on what you can and cannot control. So there's a big concept about you have power over your mind, not outside events. So there's a moment when something's coming in, stimuli from the environment is coming into your brain and your thoughts, okay? But there's a moment where you can decide how to react to those things. So our life is what our thoughts make it. Very powerful right there. Our life is what our thoughts make it. I mean, you see this in stories of people that face really, really dire straits. They face really crazy hardships like war or loss of a loved one or whatever it might be. The Holocaust. I mean, some of those Holocaust survivors, they don't hate humanity. They don't, they are able to somehow have this mental resiliency to move forward. They're obviously harmed, and were harmed by what happened, but they're able to frame things in a way that sort of moves them forward and propels them into growth. Number 4 is never give up. Okay, Stoics talk about this a lot. Get back up when you fail, celebrate behaving like a human. So, we talk about this investing and growth and things in life. It's not a success only journey. We don't just trajectory right up into the moon like people seem to think from like fantasy movies. What happens is there's trials and tribulations, and there's getting stuck, and there's malaise, and there's this and that. So again, the Stoics understood that life can be a challenging journey and experience, clearly. But why not accept this reality and move through it? What is the alternative? Hide under the covers, they ask. I challenge myself to try, potentially fail, and learn from this, get up and try again. I think that's the key thing, is trying to learn from when we make a mistake, right? That's the key. Hopefully we're not making the same mistake over and over again. And number 5, the last one I'll mention, which is talked a lot about in those books, The Millionaire Next Door, stop caring about others' opinions so much. So the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do. I once heard someone say, other people's thoughts or opinions about you are their business. It's really none of your business. And it's nothing that you can, all you can do is control your actions, right? You can treat people with respect. You can treat yourself with respect. You can have boundaries. You can be as thoughtful in your communication as possible. You can try to use a healthy tone with the people around you. So you can control your thoughts and your actions to a certain degree. You can control the words you say. But at the end of the day, after that, you can't control people's opinions. You may just not jive with someone. And that's okay. But this was was talked about a lot in the Millionaire Next Door books, that, self-made millionaires are not concerned with keeping up with the Joneses or the Kardashians or whatever. They aren't concerned with getting the latest fashion or the latest fancy car or having the fanciest kitchen or whatever it might be because of people's opinion. Those things are nice, and I'm not against nice things. But they're not trying to acquire things to make people think, like, be impressed by them. Say, oh my gosh, they must be this or that. They're more focused on building wealth, really. So those are the 5 big ones at the moment. We'll have some more on this, but there's other value. There's so much you can read about the Stoics that's really interesting. Talks a lot about virtue, living in accordance with reason, and moral excellence. Who can go wrong with that? Living in accordance with nature, obviously critical. It seems, we are natural beings. We need to live in accordance with some rules of nature in terms of taking care of our health and sleep and all these types of things. It seems better when you work in conjunction with nature, not against it. And then practicing self-control and moderation. And if you go to truewealth.moneyvibes.com, you'll see a lot of different links to YouTubes and stuff that are pretty cool. So, hey, thanks a lot for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if you get value out of this. And we will see you all on the next one. So please take care of yourselves and take care of each other.